Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and tonight I come bearing sad news, unfortunately. So, many people have asked what I do with my daily life, whether I'm a student, or I'm employed, or I'm a secret spy agent. However, I'm actually none of those things, and I just want to share what's happening in my life because it's going to be impacting what is going to be occurring in the next couple of days or weeks. So, just a little background about myself. I graduated from a well-respected university in 2013, I believe, and I began working shortly after. And it was around that time frame actually I discovered Puzzle and Dragons, and it was actually from reading a newspaper article about the biggest mobile game in Japan. So I thought, hey, it must be pretty good. Why not try it? And lo and behold, I ended up loving it. But however, in July of 2014, I suffered a serious neck and back injury, which took me to the ER later on that the next morning, and I was discharged with no hard tissue spine damage. They thought that since I'm young and athletic, I should be able to recover in a couple of weeks. So I thought that was just going to be the case, and I just rested. Unfortunately, my condition continued to get worse to the point where I could almost not stand, and some certain motions would cause nausea and dizziness to the extent where I would almost black out. So obviously something is very wrong. So I ended up going on long-term disability, and the problem with long-term disability is that it's based on your previous years of income, and as I was just starting out in the financial services industry, my income was low. I'd only worked for about 8 to 9 months since graduating, so um, income is low, so benefit is small. And I do live in Vancouver, Canada, so there is a thing called free healthcare. However, healthcare only really helps people who are reasonably healthy. People in my condition or in dire need of help don't really have the services available to them. The wait times are terribly long, and if you go private, it costs a fortune like the United States. So it's a little bit of a problematic place to be in. So over the past 26 months now, I've spent a lot of time in various pain clinics, and they don't actually sell pain. They try and help you manage your pain through various treatments. I've seen numerous doctors, specialists, chiropractors, and physiotherapists. I've basically seen everything you can imagine, and no one knows necessarily what's wrong with me, but I have a lot of physical symptoms and pain, unfortunately. So currently, my treatment involves a lot of very large needles that are injected in my neck, back, buttocks, abdomen, groin, leg, pretty much my whole body repeatedly. And these are very large needles. They're up to 2 inches, and they come with a syringe because they're injecting a saline solution. So it's a very painful procedure. I do it every week or sometimes twice a week. It takes sometimes days or the whole week to actually recover from it. So it's a very challenging time in my life. And in addition, I also do ultrasound guided injections into my spine to hopefully block various nerves and hopefully determine where the pain is coming from. Unfortunately, with that procedure, it's a lot of shooting in the dark, and they don't know where they know like where common problematic areas, but they don't know what's going to affect me. And so far, I've had 4 of those done, and none of them have proven effective. So, running out of options, relatively speaking, the last option really available at this point is lidocaine infusion, and the wait times are I think 2 to 3 years at this point, or thousands of dollars per treatment, and you probably need many treatments. So it's not a good place, and this is all really bad. However, like things couldn't get worse, right? Unfortunately for myself, I'm pretty much in a continuous state of rolling 3 stars out of the rare machine, as my optometrist found an unusual lump inside my right eye at the end of last year. So saw a couple of specialists, and I ended up seeing like one of the leading experts in ophthalmology. I don't know how to say that properly, but she's an eye doctor who specializes in cancer. And it is determined that that lump obviously should not be there, and it's very, very likely to be cancerous. So, unfortunately, because it's inside my eye, there's no way to readily access it to do a biopsy to fully determine whether it's malignant or benign. So, I'm going to be undergoing surgery tomorrow morning to remove said lump, and it's quite a rare procedure. I think she's the only surgeon in the entire province who actually performs this, so it's not very common. I don't know what to expect from it, but thankfully I'll be under general anesthesia, so I won't be awake for it, because that would be horrifying, to be honest. So, as I mentioned, the lump rests in the front side of my eye on the inside, I guess just below my cornea, iris, whatever you want to call it. And the procedure essentially involves the surgeon imagining a little square where the lump is, and then cutting along 3 of those 4 lines. And that would cause kind of like a trapdoor flap to open up. They'd open up my eye, they'd remove that lump along with some margin of healthy tissue around it just to make sure, and then they would close it and sew it shut. So there would be no loss in actual like eyeball surface area. I would just have a thinner section in my eye. Unfortunately, there's obviously going to be stitches involved, and that would actually cause tension on the eyeball, which would result in blurred vision for sometimes several months, along with irritation and whatnot. So it's because of that, I'm not sure how long it's going to be, as well as how much my vision will actually be impacted in the short run. In the long run, I should be okay. I also may be hospitalized overnight, just depending on how the surgery goes and if my other conditions flare up or not. So where does this leave me? Essentially, either one of these health problems is pretty much enough for a lifetime. Facing both at the same time is a lot to absorb, because if that lump proves to be malignant, I would have to undergo some radiation of some sort. They've checked my liver and lungs to see if cancer is spread anywhere else, as well as my blood. So far it's negative, which is nice. However, it is tough watching my peers basically go out and live their lives, fulfill their dreams, while I'm kind of stuck at home in a lot of pain. So it's a frustrating time, to say the least, and these next few days are going to be extra challenging because I won't be able to move and I won't be able to see. So there's a lot going on, so it's going to leave me a bit unable to perform my regular pad duties, so to speak. So what is the future of Mantastic and Mantastic Pad? So I'm actually very grateful for having started this, because it's pretty much the only good and meaningful thing I've actually managed to accomplish in these 26 months. I started this around mid-October of 2015, and I've gone from receiving basically 100, 200 views a day to 6,500 plus the previous month. So views have basically climbed exponentially. I'm reaching more people than I could have really imagined, and I'm actually closing in on my first 1,000,000 views, which is, I guess, quite a nice milestone to achieve. Like, this was created basically out of nothing, and something is now here. Like, I'm a relative presence in the Puzzle and Dragons community. So I mainly started this website basically as a means to help other people, because sometimes the people who want to help the most are the ones who don't have much, I guess, going for them. And also a way to provide a creative and healthy outlet for my own Puzzle and Dragons addiction. So my hope is to at least return with a modest state of health and resume my content creation, whether it be through my YouTube channel, streaming, or guide writing. And you can actually follow my various social media platforms for various updates, or just to find more content that I create, because I don't necessarily post everything on my site that I do, say, on video format. So it's worth taking a look if you want to have content flowing while I'm temporarily away. So I just want to reiterate that this is not a final goodbye, but more so of a be right back. For how long, I don't know. And during this time, I'll try my best to reply to comments, but there may be a delay of a few days, possibly. I'm busy tonight just prepping, like packing for overnight for the surgery tomorrow, so I'm not sure if I'll have time tonight to reply things. I will if I can, or I can't sleep. So, your support. And support is obviously very appreciated during this time, and I actually feel a lot closer to this community than I do any other community I'm a part of, which is almost none, to be fair. And support can come in many different ways, such as just simply visiting my site, as well as sharing my content on the various Facebook groups, the subreddit, or within your own peer circle. And like, I have tried to monetize my website, however, it only pays pennies per thousands of views, but if you do turn off ad blocker, it might help. And if lots of people do it, maybe it makes a bigger difference in the long run. Their formula for revenue generation is strange, but I make so little from it anyways, but it's very inconsistent, to say the least. Like, I can't find a pattern for it. However, if you do wish to help via like a monetary contribution, I'm not going to say no, because the next probably few days, month or so, is going to be difficult at best. and this PayPal link will link to my Twitch donation page. You can leave a message there, but if you do decide to, I'd appreciate if you left a comment down below so I can at least interact with you later on and at least try and thank you as best I can. So once again, I do thank you for your time and understanding. Hopefully I get better soon. Hopefully you keep enjoying my content and I get back to doing this as soon as possible. So thank you very much for watching, and happy puzzling!